was conventional, just conventional type grazing. Let them go out and let them pick through what they wanted. They would pick the good stuff. I overgrazed. I didn't have the forage I needed. No, I never let it rest, and that, just turn them loose in the big pastures, no confinement. And it was breaking me, and it was just detrimental to my pastures.
Don gave me a call last year. He said he was very interested in learning how to do adaptive grazing. He said that, one of the major problems that he had with his prior grazing practices was running out of grass every year in the summer months and not being able to carry the cattle through very well. There were weed problems, things like that, and we worked with Don and set him up on a adaptive high stock density or adaptive multi-paddock grazing system. And so in terms of how to get started, you need to have the grass available to get them started in the grazing rotation, right?
You got to have the grass before you start.
Right. We talked about the solution, and the solution was to do what?
We sacrificed one pasture from October to March, and we'll let the grass grow and kept them off the grass, off my forage. And it was tough all winter, bale grazing, but it allowed this ground to rest. It was a shock to Patrick and myself just by allowing this grass, these pastures to rest, what came up.
Nature is resilient, man. I mean, Mother Nature knows how to take care of herself if we'll just let her.
I had people riding by, and they basically asked, I had one guy stop and said, Don, who bought this property? He said, it must have been a Yankee. Said, somebody's doing something crazy. And I said, I am.
Don, last year when I was here and taking pictures of this field, your average forage biomass production was at best 500 pounds an acre. You had very little feed there. And now you have more than tripled that without the fertilizer and without the herbicides.
So the rest was just basically what we do as, humans. Everyone needs a kind of respite or rest. And this respite allowed my forage, what forage I did have, to recover. I had more forage than I thought that I had. I used to look at my top of my grass. Now I carry a shovel and a mattock. I look more down at what's below the ground now than I used to look what's above the ground. But if I go down, I can tell my soil is still moist. It's getting dry, but it's not cooking. When we first started out, my soil was sour. Now I've learned to dig and smell, and it's sweet and musky.
So already just the odor of the soil gives us a very good indicator of the diversity of the microbial population in the soil. Your ratio of your favorable microbes is improving because your odor, the aroma of the soil is improving.
Woo, babies, come on. Woo.
You see, Don, you started your first grazing rotation with these when?
We started this spring. Like in, end of March, end of March, 1st of April. And now, if you look at my body condition, I've had people question, hey, they've had a calf. I said, they got calves on them right now. And they said, well, Lord. They say, boy, they look good.
They look good.
They look
yeah.
good. Hair coat's great. I'll get that good old greasy streak on top. I've noticed too, if you look at the manure piles and paddies,
Has it been more consistent?
it's consistent. It's like what I call
Like a pancake batter almost?
pancake
or-
oatmeal,
Yep,
good oatmeal.
yep,
And
yep.
you know, and you see, and you get that little indentation.
Yep.
It's just like us being regular, you know, and so it's, you look at that and you say, well, I think this is working. I know it's working, you know, you're thinking, but yeah, I know it is. It's just amazing what I've seen come in here for as the insect population. I've seen more butterflies than I've ever seen in my fields. Ladybugs. There they are, you know, watch them work. I mean, you look down here, you see bees. When this was really green, you'd walk through here and there'd be honeybees everywhere. Just be zzz, you just have like a swarm. Being down south, this is fire ant country. And I do not know what happened, but I'm not complaining because I don't have the fire ants.
One of the things that we've seen, Don, on that is as you build the density of your forage and your total biomass, that in and of itself seems to drive the fire ants to the fringes.
You saw the turkeys? You
Yeah.
saw the turkeys,
Yeah.
you know, and I've had turkey eggs and nests all over the fields. You got to watch where you walk because the wild turkeys are nesting, and I've never had that. So something's happening, and the only thing I can think is something happening is in the practices that we put forth.
Mm-hmm. You know, you've actually put in a number of different measures here just simply by changing one management practice, the way you graze. You've created a cascading effect, so to speak, that is going to significantly improve everything else.
Now, when you walk out and look at the herd of cows and you can see improvements on your forage, and you have people ask you, what are you doing? And how are you doing it? You feel like you're on the right track.
Yeah.
Or at least you know you're outside the box.
Right.
Make a long story short, since he's retired, he's really embraced it and taken it to the next level. And to Daddy's credit, you know, it ain't easy to get a 60-year-old white dude to change. And I think him having grandkids helped him look longer term too.
That's my goal, is build this topsoil back for my grandkids and have this place when they won't have to go through the management that I had to do to get it back. There's givers and takers, and you can divide everybody up into givers and takers, and I want to be a giver. I like to give back what I have taken, and I like to give it back. I've got two grandboys, and Patty doesn't have any children, and both of the grandchildren, they don't call him Uncle Patrick. I've got him nicknamed the Dalai Lama because he knows everything. So they call his uncle the Dalai Lama.
Not because I'm Zen-like.
Yeah.